Welcome to Thoughts in a Glass podcast. I'm LaToya.
And I'm Kendra.
And this is a weekly podcast where we share our unfiltered thoughts on a variety of topics.
So sit back, relax, grab your favorite drink, and join us on a conversation of real, raw, and ridiculously funny content.
Period. Every week we do a drink of the night. Kendra, what's our drink tonight?
So tonight's drink is a Boozy caramel frappe. In your blender, or what is it? What you got?
You were saying NutriBullet.
Yeah. In your NutriBullet, you're gonna have. So I added an extra half this to make it for 3, but for 2 people you would do 2 cups of ice, 1 cup of coffee cooled, and you're gonna do 1 cup of any type of milk that you like. So we just went ahead and used whole milk, but you could use almond, oat milk, whatever your palate desires. A half a cup of caramel sauce, 2 tablespoons of white sugar, 1 teaspoon, of vanilla extract, and 3 ounces of your whipped vodka. In the video, you'll see that I poured the first one without any alcohol. This is for LaToya's uncle because he is a non-drinker, and we are boozier. So we added a little, razzle to our dazzle. At the end.
Cheers.
Cheers.
It's good. Darryl, Mr. Principal, Doctor.
All of the
herbs.
Doctor, yes.
No, we speaking it into existence. Dr. Evans is here with us today on this episode with the extensive resume of former principal, current principal supervisor, real estate agent, minister, husband, father, and soon to be doctor.
I was a teacher as well.
And teacher. Okay. Correct me.
It all started with good teaching. It started with excellent, great teaching. And I loved being a teacher.
Well, I'll say educator.
Yes.
All the things. So he's here with us today. You on TNG. You on the podcast.
I'm honored to be here, LaToya.
Oh, this is gonna be so funny. So you saw our drink of the night, and y'all, Principal Evans or Dr. Evans doesn't drink, so he just has the caramel Frappuccino, and I just want to reiterate that for anybody that's watching. He has just a regular caramel Frappuccino.
Trying to clock.
Yeah, they do.
I'm gonna have to get this recipe. It's like really good. It's really good.
I mean, with somebody that is doing all the things that you're doing, you need a little pick me up.
Yeah, this is enough. This is all the pick me up I can take.
So
it's really good.
The energy gonna be high then.
Energy's gonna be high. I'm already shaking. I don't know what kind of coffee you use, but the coffee is like the first thing I taste.
Espresso.
Oh, that's why I don't normally do espresso.
But it's good though.
It's really good.
Okay, so we're just gonna jump into it. Okay. Normally we do like a little weekly catch up, but I mean it's just we there's so many things that we could really get into, unless you want to do a catch up.
I mean, outside of the ladies of the politics fighting, this messy breakup,
yes,
it's so comical. They're airing out the dirtiest of long.
It is a mess. I saw a headline on, I think it was the Washington Times or Washington Post that said everything must go.
Yes, clearly, because he is over him. He said he was wearing thin. I said not wearing your thin.
The ladies, I like that.
The ladies of the politics they're fighting.
They're fighting.
I think there was a lady president in the whole office, but I'm not suing her.
I feel like this is one of those. This is better than reality TV.
It is.
It's better than reality TV.
We have so many other things going on. You cutting Medicaid, you doing this, but y'all, we fighting.
Yeah.
It was somebody that's not even supposed to be in any kind of political power because he's a South African citizen and ain't nobody elect him. But you know, they do what they want.
Yeah.
As we always find. So outside of that, I don't really have anything to catch up on. I don't have anything going on.
Okay.
You have anything going on?
Not really since the last time we talked. No, Father's Day is coming up, but I mean,
Father's Day. Can we all remember that?
Yeah, but it's this coming Sunday, so it's like
And that's a whole show in itself.
It really is.
Because Father's Day, I wouldn't have known it was coming up until you all just mentioned it.
Really?
Yeah, because Mother's Day, it's like
it's a
national holiday or something,
Well, okay, let's start there. Let's get into it. No,
you're gonna get in some trouble.
No, you opened up that can of worms.
Okay,
so let's just get into it as a father, as a dad, as a man. I mean, how do you feel about that? Like
Which part?
About the part of, Mother's Day being such a huge kind of, we spotlight that in a way where we know about it months in advance, and kind of Father's Day feeling more like an afterthought.
Let me say this. I give all glory and honor to women because you deliver a baby. Mm-hmm. That's like a lot. Mm-hmm. I can't fathom what it's like for a lady to carry a baby for 9 months and to give childbirth. Mm-hmm. I have 3 kids of my own, 5 grandchildren, so hey, you all deserve all the honor and praise. But I do think men, we get kind of downgraded for Father's Day. There's not a lot of pomp and circumstances to it. Men get a tie or some little trinket kids made, and we just say, oh, thank you. But deep down inside, we're saying, get that crap out of here. Oops, did I say that? No, for real. Truly, all a man really wants is to be left alone.
But you know what? This is the thing. This is what I think where it kind of gets a little misconstrued. I think that people look at women of needing all of these praises and needing all of the gifts and the diamonds and things like that. So it's easier to sell to that. More often than not, when you talk to a man about like, oh, what do you want to do? It's very nonchalant. So they've put this as a very nonchalant-esque holiday.
Do men put it that way, or that's the thing that's being put out there about men?
I think that it's put out there about both, right? Because
okay.
It's like, for me, I really didn't want to do anything for Mother's Day. I really would just kind of just want to chill. I don't want anything to do. Oh no, we have to do something, because it's portrayed that as a woman, a woman's supposed to be praised,
honored, and praised.
Yes, it has to be all of these things. And because she's so emotional that if it doesn't happen, then it's a problem, right? But most guys, well, if it doesn't happen, he's not really tripping. So when you have that stereotype, then that's what they're going to kind of
feed into.
Yeah, I think it is. But for honestly speaking, as a man, I don't want to speak for all men, but I just think Father's Day is a day in which let me just relax.
Yeah.
Because I think as men, we're born and we're reared to be providers, and I'm going to take care of things and make sure my wife is good, my kids are good. That you really don't need to honor me or give me anything, because it's just what I'm supposed to do anyway as a man.
Right.
So on Father's Day, if you left me alone, my daughter says this all the time, and I know she'll probably watch this. Men just like to be out in the elements. Give me my grill. Even when I was growing up, LaToya knows I would cook so much food, and I still do it because it's just something about being on a grill. It just makes you feel, I don't know, manly. And then to see the honor of people eating the food, you're like, I did that. I made that steak.
But see, this is the thing. So this is why I think it just becomes this thing, because most women are like, on Mother's Day, I shouldn't have to do anything that pertains to me having to be a mom, right? So I shouldn't have to cook. I shouldn't have to do that. I shouldn't have to do that. But the dads feel like, and I'm just saying from your perspective, you want to be on the grill, because a lot of people's like, if it's Father's Day, why is he on the grill?
Exactly, right.
And it's like, but then if we get on the grill, it's like, well, you ain't turning that meat right. Or you ain't putting the coals to the side. Get out the way. So it's kind of like, what you want from me? You know? So it's like, yes, I think that, but I'm asking, like, for my partner, I'm like, so what would you like to do for Father's Day? Oh, I don't know. And I'm like, okay. Well, what would you like? Like, give me a list of things that you would like. I really did not need anything for Mother's Day. And I'm like, well, I'll let you know by the end of the weekend. Okay, so because there's nothing really needed,
Right,
and so I
right.
think sometimes we take these holidays and look at what the society expects
I
for us,
agree.
like
I
going out to
agree.
dinner.
Hmm.
Oh, your mom should definitely have flowers. You should have this, and they don't cater to. Because I'm like, really, things that men would want. It's only so many grill utensils and
Right, right, right,
accessories you could
right.
give, or
But hibachi grills are out now.
oh, we'll see. Now that ain't no propane.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
But I think too, especially when you get to a place where you are pretty much self-sufficient, like
yeah.
anything that you could want, you could
can
go to
get
Sam's
yourself,
Club and
right.
get. So
Right.
it makes it hard then for family to like, well, what do we want to get him? It's like he was just at Sam's Club the other day buying up all the grill utensils. So you know,
Yeah. I think it's just, I think there are more, and I'll say this also, there are a lot of like mothers who don't get praised throughout the year at all because either they're single moms,
Yeah,
kids are
yeah.
still young, things like that. So it just became much more of a bigger thing because mothering is so in your face and fathering is like he's around.
almost like behind the
Oh,
scenes.
wow,
And
wow.
it's
That's
unfortunate to
good.
think like that, but that's kind of like he's going to work, he's doing this. Oh, but mom helped with homework, or mom
Yeah,
did this. So
yeah.
mom is
Right.
very
That's good.
in
That's
your
an
face,
excellent point.
right? And so it's just different.
And not that we should celebrate one more than we do the other, but
Right.
I do agree with you, especially from the perspective of the child and maybe even the perspective of the whole household. Mom's role is a lot more visible,
Right,
where
right.
dad's role is just as important, but it's maybe not as kind of like tangible in the sense of seeing what he's doing every day. Like,
And I also think that the fathers of yesterday, like growing up, my father would cook and do things, but we always saw him as this magical, mystical person.
Yeah.
Because you're right, he would go out to work. My mother would be home prepping food and getting us ready. And when my father came home, it was almost as
It was a
if
special occasion.
we honored him,
Yeah.
even though he came home every day. We knew
Yeah.
that was his seat at the table.
yeah.
My mother would make sure he ate first, and those types of things is what I'm saying is, even though I'm not as old as my father, those are things that men I think still enjoy today to honor him.
Yes. Yes.
And for a man, I don't want to speak for all men, but just for this man, a good Father's Day gift for me would just be just honor me however you can. Say something
okay.
little, a word of affirmation, if you
Yeah.
will. I know everybody talks about the love languages and all that, but there's certain things I just believe all men value, and that's respect,
Yes.
and that's honor.
Yeah.
That's it. It's saying something as simple as like, this Father's Day, you're a great husband. I just want to tell you that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get you a gift, but the biggest gift is that I just appreciate you being the man that you are, the father that you are, the husband that you are. Are we perfect? No. But on today, I just want to make it publicly known. You're a great dad. You're a great father.
Yeah.
That'll take a man like
Yeah.
way above a gift or anything, a grill item.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. If you want to get me a grill set,
On top of what you gonna say.
my
Right.
hibachi,
All right, ladies. So you heard that, right? So stick a pin in that, right? Write it down.
Write it down.
They want words of affirmation.
Wait, LaToya.
Okay.
How about this, ladies? Get your man some flowers.
Okay.
So I had thought about that, right? So I was looking at. So for my mom, I got her edible arrangements because I know she loved, like, this is what she loved. My dad is not there's nothing outside of stocks that I can get him with that. Would
Yeah,
give him, like,
yeah.
But when I got her done, he was like, so when you gonna open them up? Because I'm trying to get into the strawberries. So I'm like,
Oh.
well, maybe I just need to go.
Yeah,
And do
yeah.
the same thing for him.
You would be
So-
a surprise, and I would love to be a fly on the wall. Like, you got your husband some flowers.
I'll
With a nice
try
card.
it and see. I'll try it and
And she
report
should
back.
record it and
And
tell
see.
the people.
I
how
will
it goes.
try it and report back because y'all know I'm not good with giving gifts. So I'll try the flowers thing and let y'all know how it goes.
Okay.
I might have to.
No.
My husband a little special, so I might have to
That's a
throw
deal.
in like it's a deal.
It's a deal.
But I might have to throw in like an Iron Man.
Get some balloons,
I might have to throw in a little Iron Man balloon so he can
Yes.
know that it's for him.
Yes.
But I'll try. I'll see.
Yeah,
I'll try
yeah.
it. I'll try it. I'll try it.
Good.
So, all right. Speaking of being a dad, right, and all of that, Who would you say kind of inspired you, like to be the man that you are and everything that you did? Who would you say was your inspiration?
Well, that's easy. I'm going to say my dad.
Okay.
My father's name was Noble.
Oh,
You
okay.
know,
Yeah.
and as a kid, I was like, who would name their child Noble? You know, but as I grew up and I watched him, I mean, my dad was the dad's dad, if you
Yeah,
will.
absolutely. Yeah.
There were five of us, and he took care of us. He made sure we ate every day. We didn't have a lot growing up in Glenarm, Maryland,
Okay,
but
Glenard.
Glenarm,
Right.
Maryland, not far, right? And so when we got our house, we thought we had arrived.
Yeah, yeah.
We had 5 bedrooms. Now we still played basketball outside on the little trash can and made the
Yeah.
little hoops, but we had a backyard.
Yeah.
I was like, this
Y'all
is
living the life,
amazing.
living the dream.
Living a dream. But my father also was the kind of guy, he would sit you down. He didn't have to say many words to you. He didn't have to do a lot of spanking and all that stuff. When he spoke to you and gave you that word, you walk away sometimes confused.
Yeah.
But you think about it, you're like, dang, that was profound.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to this day, my children probably would say the same thing, that I don't even know if they're listening half the time at me. But now that my children are grown, and to hear my son, who's in the Marines, and when he comes back and he tells me stuff, I'm like, sometimes I get off the phone, I'll be honest, I'm like in tears
Yeah.
because I'm like, they listen.
Hey, listen, the
Oh my God, it
the
worked.
seeds have
Yes.
blossomed.
Yep. So it does come full circle. But my father would be the one for me. And as he grew older, just seeing him taking care of all of his siblings who were sick, staying there for my mother through her ups and her downs in her life, and never once saying to us to speak bad of your mother, speak bad of your family, this, that, and the other. Never.
Yeah.
So I took that to heart, and I believe that's why I'm the person I am today. Really, it's because of my father.
I love that. I love that you say that he was a dad's dad, because he really was, and he fathered so many, you know,
Yes, people
and
moving
never
in, living with us,
Yeah,
and-
like we had, I mean, so many people that he took
But
care
I guess the
of.
people, do they know how we're related?
I said you were my uncle
You did?
in the beginning.
Oh, thanks, LaToya.
I would just say this. You're going to hear a lot of LaToya with a little
Tang to it.
no pitch to it,
Right.
because that's not what he calls her. We ain't going to spoil the
Yeah.
family secret of what they call her. But if you be like, why is he saying like
I got a reminder down here that you don't see to call her LaToya.
And you know what's funny? Our family that watch this and my friends, that they're gonna be like,
Who is LaToya?
Right. Why is he doing that? Why is he playing? Right.
it's LaToya to y'all.
Yeah.
But yeah, Grandpa really was like he never, like, it wasn't even a question. And it's interesting now to see a lot of guys who don't even want to take care of their own kids, or like, you know, we have these guys now that if you're a woman with kids, they kind of, I don't want to be raising nobody else. And my grandfather really, he literally would raise other people's kids,
Yeah.
and he never had a problem. He didn't
bat an eye.
He didn't bat an eye. He
Yeah.
didn't bat an eye. If you know, were open to receiving that from him, he would give it. And so I think that's a great inspiration to have. And I just love the way you explain that he really was a dad's dad.
He was. And hopefully my kids will say that about me, that I'm a dad's dad.
I feel that way.
That's the greatest gift, is for your children to say. Even my oldest daughter now, who we're helping her through some things, my wife and I, and she, the other day, I went over her house and I helped her pack up some stuff and all this, and she said, you know, I just want to thank you, Dad. And I just, that fills me up. Even though children say thank you all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if they do it to their parents, but that little bit of saying, thank you, Dad, for helping me with all that.
Yeah.
That makes me so proud as a father to hear that from my child. So.
Yeah. Okay, interesting.
I would say that, like, my mom and I have a really good relationship now, but of course, growing up, I mean, it was some times of tough.
I bet.
Some
Yeah.
times of strife.
Yes.
But I said one of the things that I appreciate is having talked to her about, you know, just different things in life. But one of the things that she always talked about was, like, one of her girlfriends, like, had a friend, like, my aunts, and my cousin, they were super close. Like, they would go on girls trips, they would do this, they would do that, and it's because if you do the parenting right early, you can do the friendship right.
Oh, I love that.
I like
Say that
that
again.
too.
If you do the
If you do the parenting right early, the friendship will come later.
I love
And
that.
so now
That's a T-shirt.
so now we can kiki and have a good time, and it's no.
I love it.
And when you do all the things, now I'm no longer a dependent on her. So it's easier to be in each other's space. It's easier to love each other. It's easier for us to have conversations.
I love
because
that.
you're not. I'm not depending on her, so she's not still parenting. So she can let go and just be who she is as a woman, and I could be who I am as a woman.
I love that. That's
each other.
absolutely wonderful.
So I think for your daughter, it's like the realization that you've done the things, you've done the hard work, and so the payoff is thank you, and I appreciate you, and you've been here, and all of the things.
That just so filled my cup. And I say that because you often wonder, because my children are various ages, and my youngest is 20, well, she'll be 22 soon. And then you look at your children as you grow older, and you want them to do well, and you're praying to God that your children will turn out to be these wonderful little people. But there are times you're like, I don't know, God, help me.
Now, what's going on here?
And now, like you just said, to look at my children now, even though my son is in Japan, my other daughter is in New York, and one daughter lives nearby, when you hear little things from them, you wonder, where'd they get that from? Even though you know it came from you, but you just filled my cup in that's what it is. When you parent right, well, say it again. I'm have to write this down.
When you do the parenting right early, you'll have the friendship later.
The friendship, that's what it is.
It's so wonderful because, and my hope and prayer is that I'm also putting this into my own children because, and my daughter has said some things. We've had a conversation, and she'll say something that she's maybe said to one of her gentlemen, like her friend or somebody. And she's like, when she was dating. And she was like, yeah, because she said it. And I was like, she said, oh, because I was listening, because I know you said that to me. And I had to
yeah.
So I'm like,
oh, so you do get it now. Right.
Your ears are open. So to sometimes get that feedback, it's like, okay, if you're not doing everything right, because there is no book on parenting.
That's right.
LaToya and I talk about, we really are parenting the little person inside of ourselves.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's another good. She is bringing all the.
Can't you be dropping the gems sometimes?
I like the first started with the drink, now the daddy and the pet. I mean, you are like with the tea.
I say this to my kids all the time. We had this conversation, and I was like, I've only been a parent once. Like this is not a returning role for me. I have not done this.
Right.
So I'm not going to do anything correct. And also, I'm still a person, right? So I have petty ways. And you are a person too. So I'm going to be petty towards you. Am I wrong for it? Absolutely. But I need you to understand I'm also still a person. You can also hurt my feelings. You may have me up here, but I can still get my feelings hurt. So having those open dialogue conversations with them, I think it kind of changed like how they looked at me as not like this almighty mom.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, she's also a person. So I know I just did that, and so they'll come back, and now I can go and apologize, so they'll come and apologize. And it's not the apology of I need to apologize because my parents are mad.
Right.
It's I apologize because I hurt somebody.
And it's genuine. Yeah.
And so
that's good.
Genuine. So, but yeah, I am glad that you're getting the just
kind of the return on the investment.
You don't see it.
You don't see it. You don't. You don't. And the last thing I'll say about this, because you brought up moms and all that, and LaToya knows how I felt about my mother. I believe I was her strongest protector. And what I say to people now that I've lost my mother and my father, some during COVID and right after COVID, I find myself, and I think we've talked about this a lot, very protective over parents or older people, because and plenty of people can probably experience this when you lose your mom and your dad, this sense of how dare you treat them bad, when I would give anything to have my mother or my father back. And you're treating your mom and dad. I just go off on that, but that's a whole nother story, and I don't want to get on that.
Absolutely no, but you're absolutely right. And I think though people have to kind of go through their own experience. They do take it for granted.
That's true.
Because they haven't had the experience that you had, and so you can look back on it and say you don't realize the gem that you have or the value that you have. And But like Kendra said, we're all people kind of having our own experiences. And for those people, it'll circle back around, and you hate to see it, right? Because it's like I really
You see the train coming.
yeah, like I really tried to warn you, but
yeah.
it is what it is.
Okay.
So
Well,
okay,
good.
are you enjoying this so far?
Yeah. Are there more? Are there more of these, or?
You don't need no more. So
It's the
okay.
espresso.
All right, so Grandpa inspired you.
Mm-hmm.
Was there any part of that experience that made you want to become an educator? Like, where did that come from?
You know, that's that's a good question. Originally, I went to school to be an occupational therapist.
Really? I didn't know that.
I did because I grew up doing $6 Million Man, Bionic Woman.
Wow.
You know, and I thought I could create limbs and stuff, and like they're doing today. I was going to be that guy. And so when I was in school and we were learning all the Latin roots and the bones of the body and all these songs you had to learn, and I just was like, I can't do this. It's too much.
It's a lot.
But when I presented to people and lessons and everything, they were like, you should be a teacher. I was like, I don't want to be no teacher. They don't make any money. And they were like, no, the way you are. And so I looked at, what would it take to be a teacher? I was at Prince George Community College, and then I shifted over and said, wait a minute, I can get out of school a lot faster if I become a teacher.
Okay.
Wow.
Plus, I enjoyed studying what I was studying. So that's how I got into the role as a teacher. It wasn't because my mom or dad. As a matter of fact, my father thought I was going to the military because I was in JROTC. I was in the Air Force. I wanted to go to the Air Force Academy. Went to Duval High School. Shout out to Duval High School.
Okay, Duval.
And when I didn't get the award to go to the what were they
Military?
doing?
Aviation school?
No, I forget. It'll come to me.
Okay.
Because I'm a little older now. Yeah. When I did get that award to go to the military academy, I forget. It'll come back to me. I said, I'm not going into the military. I want to go to college. And my father was like, well, I don't know how you're going to go to college, boy. Yeah. And here's a little secret that a lot of people don't know. LaToya may know this, but I did say to my father, well, I was one of those smart kids out of the mouth. I don't know if you can tell. Smart. I was smart mouth. And I used to get popped in the mouth a lot. And I said to my father, well, you had 5 kids you didn't save for anybody's college?
Ooh, don't play with me.
And then he said, poop. And I moved out. And when I was 18, and I said, I'm going to go to college no matter what people say. And so that started my journey to being a teacher and going to school. So
I couldn't imagine raising you.
I think I was a pretty good kid.
It sounds like Jayla to me.
Who's Jayla?
Her daughter.
Your daughter. How old is she?
She is 16, and she wants to be an occupational therapist.
Oh, wonderful.
She goes to Suitland. She's in JROTC.
Wonderful.
Her mouth is crazy.
Well, I wasn't crazy. I did say some things that I used to tell my mother, speaking of crazy, she smoked cigarettes. And I used to say, why are you smoking cigarettes? Your lungs are black. And if you keep smoking cigarettes, you're going to die. And she looked at me and said, I smoked them when I was pregnant with you, and I smoked them all your life. And I'm like, so I did used to say some crazy stuff. I used to burn her cigarettes. I used to dip them in water so she wouldn't smoke. So I guess in that sense, I was kind of like,
You gonna do what you want, right?
I was a bad kid. My father used to drink some alcohol, and I used to dump it out and put water in it and dilute it down.
And now we know why he was getting that mouth popped.
Yeah. Well, now that you say that, LaToya, you're right. I was kind of hard to deal with.
Now we know why you were getting them beatings.
Yeah. So.
Wow, I didn't know that. I thought that you always wanted to be a teacher.
Nope. Physical therapist for just a little bit. Just that's it.
Interesting. So I remember when I was younger, you would say that you were going to be a teacher, a principal, and then a superintendent.
Yeah.
But here we are now. Obviously, you didn't take that path. So, like, what changed?
Kind of,
sort of, but.
When you say what changed, I did take that path. So I started off with a teacher. I taught for 7-8 years. Then I became an assistant principal for 4 or 5 years. Then I was a principal for, gosh, I don't know, maybe 18, 19
Almost
years.
20 years, yeah.
And now I'm a principal supervisor.
Right.
So I supervise 16 schools.
So you didn't go to be a superintendent. I guess that's what I was asking. Like, what, that being the ultimate goal at that time, what made you change from that not being the ultimate goal anymore?
Well, I'm not saying that's not the ultimate goal anymore.
Oh, okay. You just haven't done it yet.
I just haven't done it yet.
Okay. All right.
He's still on his journey.
I'm still on my journey.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Right. And as a matter of fact, I am working on my doctorate degree in education. Just have to finish up, finished all the coursework. And that is the goal, to be certified as a superintendent 3 for the state of Maryland whenever I finish. Do I want to be a superintendent one day? The verdict is still out.
Okay.
You know, it really is. I have ideas. There's, you know how you have shoulders and there's one shoulder saying, do it, do it, do it. Then the other shoulder saying, don't do it. You've lost your mind. So I'm right in the middle now, determining which shoulder am I going to listen to, kind of thing.
You brought up you being in the doctoral program. So how difficult, or like with the research project that you're working on, and you could give us a little bit of the topic, but how difficult has it been going through the doctoral program, and what kind of unexpected challenges do you feel like you faced with that process?
Yeah, so the coursework for me was very interesting because my degree is all in school improvement and the improvement process and rapid improvement and PDSA cycles, and it's really deep. I don't know how deep you want me to get into, you know, the Plan, Do, Study, Act kind of thing, and rapid improvement in school systems. So the coursework for me was very interesting. I found it fascinating, especially coming back from COVID. So that was not the hard part. The difficult part is getting through the final product that you have to do, the research. Not so much the literature review, because I just believe you can't find any new literature out there on things that haven't already been done. Even the whole AI and everything that's being done, there's a lot of research out there now. So initially, I wanted to study, why is it that we have African American boys to this day who are not reading at or above that same grade level expectation as other kids? African American girls, white girls, black girls, white boys. The African American boys historically perform below each of the groups by the time they get to 3rd grade.
Wow.
And that fascinates me, like, why? So my study is all around that approach and looking at a different approach and how we can get these black males to read and recognize the fact that they're struggling early on. Now, there's a component that I shifted to where I'm going to kind of include some of the AI stuff to help teachers to see how we can, fast pace, get them engaged, start them reading, recognize their deficits, what we can do to build their capacity so that they're reading by the time they get to 3rd grade. So that's the phase I'm in right now, trying to get the research approved and working with various groups and put the study in place, because I want to leave something sustainable for the district where I work, where they can use what I'm researching and it can sustain them for years to come, because AI is the future and where we're going with this. So why not use it to help teachers do all the things that I would have to do early on in my career? Like if I'm teacher reading, I had to read all the little books that I had to come up with all the questions I had to do. Well, now we have AI that we can help us do those types of things. So
why do you think in your research, have you found anything definitive, or why do you think there is such a big gap?
I can tell you there's a number of things. And again, you asked a very deep question. The research is pointing to things like just the curriculum that we put in front of African American boys. They're not interested in it.
I literally, in my mind, that's exactly what
they're not. There are other things like social norms that happen in schools that are some biases towards African American males. Certain things, if they come in with chest rear or asking a bunch of questions, or there are people afraid of that.
Wow.
Just the stereotypes about who we put them in class with. When we make up classes of kids and we just assume that this group of kids are going to be in this class right here, and unfortunately, there are people who will track those kids through that system and they never stand a chance at getting out of it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's deep. It's really deep.
It's like the school to prison pipeline.
I'm interested to hear your thoughts as a boy mom, like on that.
So I'll say
What grade?
this.
How old is your son?
So he's in third.
Perfect age.
Yeah. And so he is, but he's very much so into reading and writing. And
But why? Why does he love reading and writing?
part of it is because what he enjoys is playing video games. And so on the video game, he has to read and he has to do missions and things like that. So it's interesting to him. So, and we don't help him with it. And so, well, I need to figure out how to do this. Or he's writing to somebody else. And because he doesn't have his microphone or something like that, so he just can't talk to it. He has to actually type the things in.
Love it. I love it.
Ask the question like, well, how do I spell this? Or how do I do this? So he does. And then he's interested in that. And then we'll find books that he's actually interested in instead of giving him the regular read stuff.
There you go. High interest. It has to be high interest and interesting to a boy.
You saying that and then your response, it makes me think of a lot of moms that I know that are in that position and have literally done what you said. And I think it highlights even more the school system, because I know several women who have children that are boys who have said, in order for me to get him to do this, I gotta put a car in front of him, or I have to, give him a book about trains or whatever. And so a part of that is our job as parents, but it is very interesting to me that the school system hasn't picked up on that.
Yeah. Now, I'm not going to speak for every school system.
Yeah.
Because they
but,
are.
But writ large, the numbers are the numbers.
Correct.
And so while there may be some schools that do focus on it, overarchingly, there's a deficit somewhere.
That is true.
And we're seeing that parents are more so having to do this for their sons than they do for their daughters.
And I just think back to when you said some schools are doing this. I think back when I was a teacher, I loved teaching reading. I just loved it. But I think back, and I wrote some of this in my research that's going to come out. In order to get the results that I got, I had to act a fool in the classroom. And I knew that because if girls are just nurturers, girls are just, they want to please. All my years of teaching, I didn't have problems with the girls. The boys, I had to say, now I got to reach this little person a different way. And I had to act a fool. So I would read stories and books and almost become the character and challenge them and, hide stuff in the classroom and turn my classroom into thematic places that they would want to come into. And they ate it up. I would see kids reading things before I even got to it. Reader's theater is another technique that they used to do when I was a teacher. And you let the kids, you just give them the novels and the books and let them act it out. Let them decide how they're going to present the material, how they're going to do the comprehension and struggle through the reading. They will help each other out. But that took a lot of work. And in today's schools, some of it is teachers don't have time to do all that.
I literally say it's the time and the amount of children that you
And the
have.
effort that you want to put into it too.
Yeah, exactly. And so with hearing that, it's also what you just said. It's how much as a person you're giving of yourself to push these children to the next level. Because unfortunately, you do have children that are in a situation where both parents are working to just to make ends meet, right? And so to get home, I have just enough time to correct your homework. But when you have new math and new things, I don't have time to learn that, teach that, and cook dinner at night.
You got it.
Because now, and I was just talking to one of my coworkers about this. I said, I don't know if it was the Mandela effect or what, but I used to be able to get up, go to the gym, get dinner cooked or started, go to work, come back, still feel like it's daylight and I have energy and time to do stuff. This can't be the same amount of hours from 2, 3, 4 years ago. So now, putting forth that extra effort to either keep your kids up longer, to go through the homework and have that time, because most of the time they've had it done in their after school program. So like, okay, let me check it. So now that prolongs bedtime, that prolongs.
Absolutely.
You've just worked a 8, 9, 10 hour day and you kind of want to decompress yourself.
Right.
Because unfortunately, if your mate doesn't have it and you don't have it to fill each other's cup up, you have to do what's best for you in the end. And so sometimes, unfortunately, it falls short on the children because you can't be the best parent until you're the best you. So it takes, all of those things take time. And if we're not, as they always say, it takes a village to raise these children. But if you have 35 kids or however in one classroom, that's just not a conducive learning
It's not.
environment for someone who maybe an only child and it really gets most of the attention. So having to share it is a new
Mm-hmm.
thing for them. And then, you're going into kindergarten with this. It's like, this is not really my norm. Now you're
Mm-hmm.
going into first grade. And so now you're falling between the cracks because you get enough done to
Get
passed on,
Right. Yeah.
but you're never getting the full benefit, like the fullness of it. And
Right.
it's like tutoring costs money.
It
Putting
does.
you
It
into,
does.
different,
Yeah.
programs, those things cost money. And when eggs is $12, baby, I don't.
Yeah, absolutely. I've told this story on here before, but like the year that I came to live with you was my most productive year educationally
Oh.
because
Are you giving me my props now?
I am.
Well, thank you, LaToya.
I feel like I told you this before.
Wow. No,
but-
you haven't, but go ahead. I'm listening.
But it was because I got that experience because I came from, not that my mom was doing everything she could. She was working 2 jobs. It was me, my brother, and my sister. So like you were describing, she didn't have a whole lot of time to come home, help me with my homework, et cetera, et cetera. And then when I lived with you, it was like, okay, when you get home, we're going to go over the things and we're going to sit and we're going to figure it out. And then I was like, oh, okay, this is what I, like it all makes sense now. And then being able to kind of like take that back into school and apply it. And I'm pretty sure you remember, but when I was struggling in school when I came there, and I really feel like all you were doing was sitting with me and going over homework. And by the end of the school year, I was at the science fair, doing the mentoring program.
Absolutely.
Like,
Yeah. And I can tell you, to answer really what you're talking about and why I believe your success, it's all about the structure you put in place. And I just truly believe if you're a single mom, see, you have to put structure in place for your child.
Yeah.
Starting from the get-go. For example, children need to know when they come home from school, they need a break. Because we work them children in schools. They are moving back and forth. They are going to specials. They're having lunch. They're communicating with their friends and they're trying to learn. When they get home, they're tired.
Yes.
A lot of research showed too, the reason why a lot of children don't do well in school is because they're tired.
Yeah.
We get them up early to get them to school. Then the minute they get in school, let's go, 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 go.
Yeah.
And teachers have very little patience when a child is not going at the rate that they planned. They got to score all this work. They got to get it in the system. They got to analyze. They got to think for the next day. And when you veer off the path, that's when the teacher is going to say, this is not right. So creating a structure in your household, if it's just getting your child a place where this is your homework spot, make a schedule. When you get home, you're going to have a 15-minute break. There's some snacks for you in the refrigerator, on the table, wherever to eat. Or some kids now, they even take home snacks from school. They can do that. There's schools that do that. But when it comes to this time, we're going to do schoolwork. You got 1 hour to check your homework, read a book, practice your spelling words, practice your multiplication, whatever. Then it's free time. Then it's get ready for bed. A lot of people think children don't want the structure, but they do. They do.
Yeah.
They enjoy seeing, they crave it.
Yeah.
They crave it.
I can attest to that.
And
because
that's, I think, just the other part. That's what your success. Remember when we first said, come live with us. First thing I did was what?
I don't remember what.
Set up the structure for you.
Oh, yeah, you did.
We gave you basically the whole basement was your domain. You had your own bathroom. You had your own study place. The next thing we did, we went out and bought the materials for you to be successful.
And we did have a schedule, and
Yep.
you're absolutely right in the sense of I wouldn't, now as an adult thinking back to that time, I wouldn't necessarily describe it as something that I craved at that time, but when we did put it into place, it felt right.
Right.
You know, like, and this is no shade to my mom. Like, I didn't really have a whole lot of structure in that environment, but I didn't have any behavioral problems. So I think for my mom, she felt she's a good kid. I don't have to put all these, restrictions on her. So, and I think sometimes as parents, you do feel like structure can be restrictive. But when I came to your house,
Look at Toy dropping.
Okay.
Both of y'all are like, structure, don't say that again.
Structure doesn't have to be restrictive.
Look at y'all. Y'all are some good. I'm coming back. That's good. I mean, okay.
But so when I came to your house and did have structure, I didn't feel like I was boxed in. I just felt like this is how they run their household. And I had no problem getting on board with it. So I don't know if it was something that I craved per se, but I do know that I benefited from it being, you know, in a sense of like you said, and I think Tina, too, your wife, was like, okay, this is what time y'all gonna wake up. This is what time I need you to get the bus stop. When you get home, like you said, we did have a break because I think it was a few minutes that I would be home before you or Tina got home, and Sierra and Darryl. So it was like the free time. You could have whatever snacks, and then we did homework. And then it was a little bit more free time and then bed, right? But I didn't feel like coming into that environment, I didn't feel like, oh gosh, I didn't feel like that. It just was like, I feel like from a child's perspective, there was no alternative. And this is what we're going to do here in this house. And I was like, okay, I'm on
like
board.
I said, they live up to that. But the other part of this, because of the job that I do, and because I do supervise 16 schools, sometimes I have to deal with parents and their children. Kids also feel the pressures of home.
Yeah, that's true.
They feel it when mom and dad are fighting. They feel it when they don't have food in the house. They can't pay the bills. You know this, but growing up when our water was turned off, and it didn't you don't realize it until you're going down to your aunt's house to borrow a bucket of water to take a bath. You're like, wait a minute, what? The water's supposed to come out this tap. What happened? So they feel whatever is going on in these households, as secret as you want to keep it, they feel it and they carry that with them.
Yes.
And then when they come into the school setting, we have to kind of first recognize it and figure out what to do with it. Now, the flip side of that is that there are people who they don't feel like that's their job.
Yeah. And that's the hard part.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with, I think sometimes teachers of a particular time frame understood the struggles that we were already facing.
Yeah.
And didn't want to contribute or add any more to that. They wanted to be a relief.
Yeah.
And I think now you get to a space where people are, a lot of times you hear, well, it's been this amount of time. Why haven't y'all turned the corner? Why haven't y'all come to, And it's just like, this is a programming. We've been programmed into this for so long. And we have examples of people who have, gotten out of situations, become successful. But that is not the norm.
Right.
More often than not, that is the exception to what the rule that they have created for us. And so if we start applying the exception to everybody, then you get in a situation where the people that just can't give you that, they lose faith in the system, they lose faith in teachers, they lose faith in the judiciary system, they just lose faith in all of these components because you're trying to push someone to be what the exception is, and not really dealing with what the reality is.
Yeah.
And that's a difficult.
And I don't know the answer to that because teachers are struggling.
Yeah.
They're going through. When I was a teacher, I used to be screaming inside my head and saying, "Can somebody just check on me? I'm not doing good, and I have to go in here and teach these 30 children
because you're still a person."
The principal is struggling.
Yes.
Like I said, my classroom, my learner is the principal. And as a collective group, they have issues. They're going through stuff. The system is going through stuff. So the answer to fix all that, I don't know.
Yeah, and then you're putting people in a situation where you have, their hands tied behind their back.
Absolutely.
To do certain things or wanting to, no, you got to stay on this task because we have to do this testing. We have to do this. And these children aren't ready for this.
Right.
So you're trying to force feed something where they didn't get it in the second grade and now in third grade because no kids left behind or all of these different things. It's propelling them and giving them more than what they can handle.
But what could help? Like I said, I don't know the answer to everything we're talking about, but I just firmly believe in what helps is if that we are all on the same page.
Right.
And if you came into my school and I was a principal, I have to have the understanding that you're here because you want what's best for your child.
Right.
And then you have to understand that I'm going to talk to that principal, that teacher, because that teacher wants what's best for my child.
Yeah.
If we all can get to on that same road, it could start to change.
Yeah.
Again, in my role, I'm the person folks come to for problems or or solutions.
Yeah.
And I always say to people, if you're wrong, admit it.
Yeah.
Fix it and move on. But if you're right, hold tight.
Yeah.
And then they'll come talk to me. As long as you're following the administrative procedure, the rules and the procedures of the school, we're going to back it. But when you're wrong, just admit it. And a lot of times as a parent, I don't know, because you're sitting in your brother, and when you dealt with school stuff or your siblings, because a lot of times LaToya acted as the mom in school too.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
Doesn't it feel good if the teacher were to just say, Miss So-and-so, I'm sorry, I messed up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that the accountability part of stuff, and that's what I say with the big accountability. And that's part of like when you're a parent, being accountable to say, I was incorrect, I was wrong with how I handled this. And a lot of times kids will come home and like, I really didn't do this, or I didn't understand this, or they didn't explain it the way I did explain it. And it's like, we as adults can say, we say a lot of stuff in our head
that doesn't need to come out your mouth.
Or that needed to come out your mouth, and you just been saying, well, they already got it, right? Like this person needs step by step. And we know people in this world that need like, put your homework in here. Okay. No, just today's homework. So you need someone that needs all of the direction. You have other people that can read between the lines.
Right.
And so you're teaching two different type of children. They're coming from different type of households. People that are more mature because they have to deal with all the things, helping mom with the bills, or hey, I need you to read this to your sister or brother because I have to do this.
Yeah.
So they're forced to, so they get it, right?
Yeah.
And then you have other kids who are spoon-fed everything, where their parents help them, and they, my mom's like, I wait till my mom get home, she'll help me with homework instead of trying to figure it out. So you have all of these.
Or parents doing it for them.
Right. And so you have all of these because you're like, I just want my child to be successful. And I don't necessarily have the time to teach them to be successful. Let me just get them through. And you think that you're doing the right thing because the kid in you is like, I just want somebody to help me.
Right.
And, so again, it all goes back to, I always say this, it goes back to what you try to fix yourself and how you're doing with children. But I think that if we can figure out a way to kind of get everybody on the same page, understanding what, like the different type of learning styles. I know like for Jonathan, he is a very hyper kid, right? And so in school, he's forced or he's needed to be kind of contained.
Absolutely.
Right? Because but then it's like his learning style isn't the containment. And so when he gets home, we're doing the jumping around, we're doing the other activities, we're doing the extra stuff. Now I'm tired. And I'm ready for bed. Well, we need to do this, and this is happening, and so I'm trying, given the structure is necessary, but then the other side of that is when you have children, like I'm a hands-on learner. I don't do the best with like textbook or just reading stuff. And you get a lot of that in the beginning. And so for me, I know because I had to do summer school when I was younger, like kind of falling behind. And then when I started to get to the point where I knew what interests me more, I'm a really good storyteller, or I'm very imaginative. So I can now, you can give me, I can see the beginning of the book and the end of the book, and I can figure out
the in-between.
The in-between, right?
Okay, all right.
So, but that works for me.
Right.
And so that helped me with when going to school and stuff like that. I didn't have to do a whole lot of textbook type of stuff. I can hear something and kind of, okay, I get the gist of whatever you're discussing.
That's good that you figured it out, because sometimes it just takes, like I have I got a side hustle too, all those other jobs you do.
Right.
I have my own LLC, and it's called Principal Solutions. And there's sometimes I do consult with parents. That's a job on the side. I'm very, particular about folks who call me for my services, because I will do exactly what you're saying. For a person like myself who's been in education, to be able to come in your household and watching what's going on and give you suggestions is really what we need to go to. Not so much that people are always wanting to get paid for it.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of companies out there that will pay you. But my aim is to go in and be a servant person, because that's one of my leadership qualities that we talked about earlier, as a servant to people.
Yeah.
Because sometimes as a parent, you just, okay, what's going to make this child tick? I know he's my baby, he's my child. But from an educational standpoint, there's no way you can know all the things, because you mentioned some things here that I'm not going to say that it's triggering me to want to talk to you about, because I've heard some things but that's because I've had that education background that parents don't know. And kudos to you for recognizing that I know my son needs to get this stuff out, so I'm going to do all this. So when he goes to school, he doesn't act up. So, but kudos to you. But not a lot of people are doing that.
Yeah.
They're faulting the schools and they're saying, well, I keep them all day long, then you need to go home and y'all need to educate them while you got them. There are not a lot of people do it. It's a together thing.
Yeah, it was, starting off, if we're going to McDonald's, having him read the menu, or the stuff that he enjoyed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what is that? I'm at the stoplight. What am I supposed to do? What color is that?
I love
all
it.
of those different things.
Yep.
And so now we're doing that with my 3-year-old, and he's like, "Oh, you got to stop. You got to stop. It's red. You got to stop." So it's the smallest things that it's just a little bit of extra effort.
And some of it is societal too. And I can tell you because my son is in Japan right now. He's in the military. And when he told me, or I think he sent me a video of the little kids and how they walk to school, like little tiny things, and they just raise their little hand. So people and everybody comes to a stop, and they have children walking long distances to get to school. When my children were little, I would never.
Whatever.
I think I rode Darryl and Taylor to school every day in high school, and they had a bus.
Yes. It's the biggest thing, and I think we talk about.
Stop to get them coffee in the morning.
Listen, okay, don't ever let me be. You taking me to school? Now, I'm also hungry. Now we have waffles in the house. You were up in time for such and such.
Yeah.
You want to stop at
But imagine if society took on this thing that we're going to help each other. We're going to make sure all of our kids get it.
But this is what ends up happening. It ended up happening, I believe, because we used to have it where your next door neighbor sees.
That is true.
We used
That's
to have
true.
It, but then it got to the point where
I'm gonna get mine, and you ain't
in my business.
Yep.
Well, a lot of times, again, what ends up happening is you'll hear, "Oh, when I was a child, they were all in my business. I'm not gonna do that to my kid." And all of a sudden, things start to change. Because it's trying to heal an inner child where you didn't realize how beneficial it was. But now you're like, where are the grandparents that used to watch the kids? Now the daycares and this. Well, everybody changed that because you didn't want to go to grandma's house because you didn't want to sit around and just watch stories, or you didn't want to get reprimanded, or you didn't want to get such and such. And so now it's like, now I'm just put my kids in daycare because I don't want such and such in my business, or I don't want to have to answer to grandma. Or when I come over there, I don't want to have to talk. So it becomes all of these things, and now that we've gotten away from it, you miss it. And you don't know it until you don't have it anymore.
That's so true.
And so now everybody's sad about paying $1,200 for things.
So, all right, look, we got, it's so much more that we need to get into.
Really?
But we're going to do a pause right here. Yeah, because we're going to do a part 2. So make sure you...
Wait. When you say pause, meaning what?
We're going to pause, we're going to close. And then we're going to pick the conversation back up.
Oh, okay.
But it's going to be a two-part series.
Yeah.
So I got to come back?
No, you just stay here.
We're closing out for this episode.
Yeah, we're just closing out this episode.
Okay. Can I finish my drink?
Yes, you can.
We got cheers.
Yeah, we go cheers it. So make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification button, tell a friend to tell a friend.
Drop down in the comments.
Listen, if y'all have any questions for Uncle Darryl or Principal Evans or Dr. Evans, drop them in the comments.
Answer them. LaToya is going.
Hey, you made it an hour.
I know. LaToya will send them to me. How about that?
Y'all gotta come back. If you stayed to the end of this episode, there is so much more that we get ready to dive into. He ain't even touched on the ministry. He hasn't touched on the marriage. So come back. We're gonna finish the conversation and we'll drink to that.
Cheers.
Cheers.